College football recruiting fans, welcome back into CFB Nation's Southeastern Recruiting Show. In this episode, I'm just going to break down some film of some of the top prospects from down south at the offensive tackle position. Let's jump right into it. These are the players that I have in this order. David Sanders out of Charlotte. He is one of the top players in the country, arguably the best player in the land. Josh Petty out of just outside of Atlanta. We have Solomon Thomas from Jacksonville, Florida. Micah DeBose from Vigor High School down in the Mobile area. We also have Juan Gaston from Westlake and Ziyare Addison out of the greater Tampa area. So let's jump in with this and have a little fun. These are all kids that have big-time Power 5 offers already, class of 2025. Mr. Sanders is who we're going to start with, and this is a player that I think everybody will enjoy just for the simple fact that he's such an athlete. Watching Sanders at the Under Armour event, I really enjoyed seeing him move, not only doing the 40 and some of the agility drills, but just the way he went and hit the bag. He's learning the position. He'd played tight end at one point in his career and has moved to tackle. Watch how quickly he gets back in his pass pro and gets out in space, etc. Anything he does, Sanders does quickly. He's at Providence Day School. The greater Charlotte area has quite a few good private programs. Look at the athleticism to get out on a smaller guy and bury him. Here's an example of him getting out and making his feet run really well. And then eventually, once again, he dislodges this young man from being standing up. Nice job of centering a defensive player in space up and burying him again. I don't think you're going to see many guys at this level do that as a sophomore. I was surprised at how strong Sanders is already with 2 more years of high school. He's probably in the 270, 280 range as he goes into his junior year. He's going to be over 300 pounds when it's all said and done. This one last play here, look at him just drive the guy. He's one of the best players in the country, and Sanders is a guy that I think can really make a difference early in his career, might even be able to start in a major program because, again, the feet do not lie. All right, next up, Petty. This is a kid that is also really athletic in space, and he's a capable young man when it comes to making plays, passing game, run game, etc. Watch him move his feet after contact. Really like the way he does that. Plays in the greater Atlanta area too, so he's definitely going against competition. He's got a little bit of a mauler mentality. He could play inside if you wanted him to. Plays left tackle for his high school. But if you wanted to move this young man to guard, he could certainly fit that bill as well. Once he anchors down, it's pretty hard to move Josh off his spot. Nice job reaching the second level. Drive blocks pretty well. Turned that guy all the way around and pancaked him. One more play here from Josh. Josh probably needs a year, I would imagine, in the weight room to get a little bit bigger, kind of like Sanders to really kind of maximize. But then again, he's got 2 years of high school left. He might reach that size. Don't forget, this is class of 25. They are only going to be juniors. All right. Solomon Thomas. This is a young man that may not need that year. He's a really big young man, plays guard, plays tackle, doesn't really make a big difference. He's such a talented player and is such a bull. He's got a huge chest. He could make players pay in a tight box or right here. Good pass pro. Has the strength to overwhelm you even in pass pro. And has a good first step. He's a guy right around 300 pounds already. Plays in Jacksonville at Raines High School. Goes against good competition each week. Not many players are going to handle his tenacity either. Solomon is a power player that likes to really get on the guy and bury them. Good base. He doesn't lunge or get out over his feet either. He does a nice job of staying balanced in pass pro. Most power players struggle with that. One more play here from the big fella. Nice kick step. Turns to power. All right. If you look at most of these players, one of the things you're going to notice is the reach. Offensive tackles need the length to be able to handle speed rushers. These guys are also very talented naturally, have big size, and have the ability to overpower players. But that reach is something that is almost always present. Next up, Mr. DeBose. This is a young man out of Vigor High School down in the greater Mobile area. The quickness to get outside and move is definitely there, but he's also a young man that he's just got a lot of power. He was really impressive at Under Armour, just walking in the room. You're like, that looks like a big-time football player. Has offers from all the major programs. Technically committed to Georgia, although he's communicated with a lot of schools. Really good talent and upside. I don't know if he'll end up at guard or tackle, but I think he can play either. It doesn't matter. He just needs to refine his technique, continue to work. He'll be just fine. Look at him move up to the second level there. That's impressive. The power here is just impressive, though. Over and over again, he shocks the guy in front of him when he puts his hands on. Really heavy hands. That is hard to understand. Like, how would you prepare for that in practice, especially at the high school level? He's mauling people. Once this young man refines the technique, going to be really difficult to handle him. One more play here. That's a lot of power. DeBose might be out of this entire list the guy with the highest ceiling. You could at least make that argument because his ability as a run blocker stands out. Pass protection is where he needs to work the most to improve, but 2 more years of high school, I think he'll be just fine. Next up, let's go with Juan Gaston. Plays at Westlake. It is an Atlanta area school. It's the same high school as Cam Newton back in the day. For a guy that's well over 300 pounds, listed around 330, Mr. Gaston can get out on the edge and really turn a kid. It's incredible how athletic some of these young men really are. Juan's a great example of that, playing left tackle at Westlake, where they play against big-time competition every week. Good feet, gets up to the second level. And his strength is such that if he gets his hands on you, you're in a lot of trouble. DBs and edge defenders can't really do much with him in the run game. One more play here from the big fella. Just mauls him. Juan is what you would call a kid that could play either. I mean, he can play tackle. He's got the feet for it. But his mentality to want to go and grind on guys and just be a mauler, especially if he does go to like Georgia or Alabama, one of those schools that likes to play power football, you could play him at guard. He's athletic enough to do it, even though he's like 6'5", 6'6". And those types of players have been very successful at the SEC level for quite a while. One last guy here. Let's talk about Mr. Addison. This is a young man that has a lot of upside. Hasn't quite gotten to where he needs to physically yet. Adding weight. He lives just outside of Tampa. But he has the athleticism that you're looking for. He plays both ways too, and that's another reason that you can see him eventually being a really good player. He's going to eventually concentrate it just on one thing, but I've seen him work a defensive angle and play a little bit there as well. He's eventually going to be that guy that just plays left tackle. That's his future, and his upside is tremendous. The quick feet to get outside are probably the thing that I noticed the most about him from the times that I've seen him play. But his strength isn't like what it is for somebody like Gaston or anybody that's kind of like, Dubose in particular. So he's probably going to need another year. He could be a redshirt kid, but I think he's going to end up being one of the best offensive linemen in the South. One more play here from Mr. Addison. Needless to say, he has a lot of power still in his hands as well. Why did I feature these guys? I look at this from an upside perspective. It's not always just about power right now, what you're doing technique-wise. Offensive line is about a long-term projection. It's a position where you're going to learn the rest of your life, not just now or in college or early into an NFL career. New techniques, new ideas, new concepts, different ways to study film, different ways to attack an opponent and a scheme. Offensive line can be very complex. Each of these young men has developed physically a little bit more than most kids, obviously, but it will still be what's about above the shoulder that gets them or does not get them to the ultimate level of the National Football League. The ones that take to the coaching, understand techniques and how to combat different types of pass rushes, especially if they're designed to play left tackle, protecting the blind side of the quarterback, will often dictate whether or not they have the opportunity to be a big-time NFL player. But all these guys that I just showed, they're elite players with elite offers. So keep that in mind. Please, if you notice at the bottom of the screen, please subscribe to the Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. All these different opportunities to grow this podcast and in this channel overall. A lot of good stuff going on at CFBA Nation. Please like, please hit that notification bell, please share and comment. Let me know what you think of everything, and God bless. Have a great day.